Welcome back everybody to chapter 11. We got some really cool content in this video, but I do want to forewarn you that I had a couple of snafus when recording content around this time frame. So we are not going to have footage for a few things that happened in this chapter, and I'm going to talk about it. So I do apologize that you guys won't be able to see it, but we're going to make sure that we cover it so there's no surprises when you guys see the progress check at the end of the video. We start chapter 11 with a mini quest called In Search of Knowledge, and it's a bit of a grind. Essentially, you're trying to get 12 pages, and we had to fight the temple spiders because they were the lowest level. They have a drop rate of about 1 in 30. So when you do the math, we were here for about 4.5 hours until we finally got all the pages. Now, I did do this grind across multiple days and different things in between, some of which were actually in the previous chapter, but we finished it in this chapter. We ended up getting a 10k experience lap that we put towards rune crafting that got us to level 50, and also through 4.5 hours of fighting all the spiders, we were able to get our strength to level 64. Our next endeavor was to complete Morning Zen Part 1, but in order to do that, we needed to get our range level to 60. So we went to Fossil Island and fought Ammonite crabs until we got that done. I wanted to do the quest on stream, which wasn't for a couple hours, so I decided to knock out my last Kaldar Slayer assignment before we switched to Konar, which was 136 Lesser Demons. That gave us 10k of Slayer experience and 51 Slayer level. And this is where the first recording snafu happened. Because I went live on my stream, I forgot to save my VOD. I know, rookie mistake. I know for a fact we ended up doing this Hellhound assignment, finishing it, and then doing another Slayer assignment after that. We got to 54 Slayer in all of this, although it's not on footage, unfortunately. And then we completed Morning Zen Part 1, which was also on the stream and not shown. That quest gives you 40k of thieving experience, which got us to level 55 thieving. Also gives you 25k of hit points experience, which got us to level 64. Next, we completed Morning Zen Part 2, and I gotta say, the Runelight plugin, the quest helper for this, was insanely helpful. The first time I've ever done this quest, way back in the day, I actually did it without a guide. Tried to figure out all the mirrors myself, and it took me an entire day and multitude of deaths. I did get it done though, but it was incredibly frustrating. I did this quest in like an hour and a half, 2 hours, because that Runelight plugin saved my butt. The quest did give us 60k of agility experience that got us to level 67. To finish the day, I decided to knock out 2 more Slayer assignments. The first one was 124 cow fights. That got us only 5k of Slayer level, and yes, eventually we're going to start using cannons here, but not yet. Don't have the money for cannonballs. And then the second Slayer task was 50 Ankus. That got us very little experience as well, but we got that knocked out pretty quickly. No Slayer level increase there. Another very important point about all the Slayer assignments you guys have seen in this video so far is that we use them to train our strength and attack both to level 65 so we can get access into the Warriors Guild. As soon as we got in there, we started grinding the Warriors Guild tokens by fighting the animated Mithril and Adamantine armor. Once we got enough, we went upstairs and grinded all the way to the Rune Defender, and then went downstairs and fought those Cyclopses until we got our hands on a Dragon Defender. The entire grind took us about 4 hours to do, but we did get pretty lucky on our Dragon Defender. It dropped within like 8 kills of the Cyclopses downstairs, so pretty lucky. Before we started our next grind, I knocked out a quick Slayer assignment. We got 37 Bronze Dragons. They're not a very good assignment, both Slayer experience wise or the fact that they're actually kind of tough for my level. But I'm not skipping any tasks because we're saving our Slayer points so that we can craft a Slayer helmet and then also get the bigger and badder Slayer reward. So both of those are 550 points. So right now we're doing every and all assignments no matter what they are. Normally I think I would have these Bronze Dragons skipped. So the next major undertaking for this character was the Fighter Torso grind through the Barbarian Assault minigame. And up front, I would like to give a big shout out to my fellow clansmates Storm, Xpiffa, Whelping Box, and Stinkpoop Dad for assisting me in this minigame. All 5 of us were able to get our Fighter Torsos. It took us about 4 hours. None of us had any prior experience on how to do this. This was actually the most requested activity we do for a clan event just because a lot of people needed their fighter torsos. So massive thank you to the lads. This mini game, I think there's a giant shroud of uncertainty and confusion that surrounds it. Just because when you read on paper what you need to do, what this mini game is all about, it does sound incredibly confusing and complicated. It just does. And you can do your due diligence and do the in-game tutorial or watch a multitude of guides on YouTube from wonderful content creators that do their best to explain to us what to do. It still sounds confusing and complicated. So my best advice to anybody that needs this done is to grab 5 folks, whether they're your clansmates or you go to one of the official Barbarian Assault worlds and join a group. Get them in Discord and go in there and start pressing buttons. Legitimately, go in there with the understanding that for the first hour you're all gonna fail, but you're gonna learn what to do. And what you're gonna realize is that every role is actually pretty simple, and the minigame in general is not very complicated. But you gotta get in there and press buttons. And once you grind the roll to 375 points and switch, you're going to learn all the things that work and don't work so you can pass that on to the next person, and that learning curve is going to get gradually smaller to a point where all of you guys are going to know what to do, and it's just going to go very quickly. Next, I set my sights on 2 quests. The first one, Swan Song, which required 62 fishing, and the second one, Devious Mines, which required 65 smithing. I started with fishing, went to the Barbarian Village and fished there until we got to level 58, and then we transitioned over to the Barbarian Outpost and started Barbarian fishing until we got to level 62. So next, I decided to completely disregard Thorm from a few episodes ago, who told me to do Blast Furnace, and instead I chose to train my smithing by making steel and mithril weapons and armor until we got to level 58. And then he got home, he saw what I was doing, he yelled at me again, told me that he's going to show me how to do Blast Furnace. He just needed a few minutes to eat his dinner. So I decided to knock out my weekly mini games. The first one, Throne of Miscellanea. We collected our first haul, if you will. I sold everything that you see on screen and was able to make 680k in profit. Really good. And then I completed the Tears of Gothic's mini quest that gave us construction level to 43. One more quick stop, the Barbarian Assault mini game. Completed all of our medium achievements in Kandaren, so we went ahead and grabbed that lamp for 7.5k experience that we put towards rune crafting and got to level 51. And then we finally learned what Blast Furnace is and how to partially do it, because you don't see me do it with stamina potions here. I figured that out much later. But regardless, we did Blast Furnace until we got to level 65 smithing. With 62 fishing done, we were able to complete the Swan Song quest, help the wise old man go through his last hurrah. It's a pretty neat little quest. We get to fight a sea queen troll at the end there. We gain access to the Piscatoris fishing colony, and I remember back in the day, fishing monkfish here was all the hype. I remember everybody and their mother and their cousin and their neighbor were here fishing for monkfish. Nowadays, not so much. But the quest gave us 50k in fishing, which got us to level 63, and then also gave us 15k of magic, which got us to level 69, and then 10k of prayer that did not get us a level. Next, I returned to Barbarian fishing, I popped in a movie, and I trained our fishing until we got to level 65, so that we can go back to the Karamja jungle, catch a Karambwan, and complete the last medium achievement, the 5k experience lamp we put towards rune crafting but got no level. And then it was time with 65 smithing to complete the Devious Mines quest. The quest gave us experience in smithing, fletching, and rune crafting, but none of them got us a level. And then it was time to complete the last medium achievement that we still had to do. It required 61 wood cutting, but for some reason we thought it was 62. Anyways, we went to Apatol to cut the teak trees there. It's the fastest method. You get to just drop the logs. You make no money, but it's pretty quick. Popped in a movie and got it done. And then we return to the wilderness to kill the ant that hangs out by the level 19 teleport. And then we chopped its body up to complete that medium achievement. The lamp, 7.5k experience, we put towards rune crafting. They got us to level 52. And then here is a quick scroll through all the achievements to show you guys all the easy ones and the medium ones are now greened up and done. All right, so now that the achievement grind was over, I didn't quite know what to do next. And whenever I lack purpose in RuneScape, I always turn to Slayer. It's a very reliable skill to train, both for experience and for money. So I'm about to rifle off a series of assignments and experience gains that we completed. Just strap in, starting with 155 jellies, and then we got 36 bronze dragons, and then 169 cow fights, then 167 greater demons, 150 turrets was next, and that was a really good money assignment. Lots of herbs were dropped here. 144 greater demons again, 47 bronze dragons was next, and then finishing off with 139 greater demons. In total, that gave us 91.3k of Slayer experience. That equaled 5 levels. That got us to level 60 Slayer. We got 2 levels in attack to 66, 3 levels in strength to 69, and 3 levels in hit points to 68. Also important to mention, I started using a cannon with the first greater demon assignment, and that got us 2 levels in ranged to 62. I do recognize that was a ton of information and a lot of numbers thrown at you guys in a very short span. We are going to do a lot more Slayer on this account moving forward, so I'm toying with a few ideas of how to display that information to you guys so it's not very boring. Please bear with me while I try to figure this out. For now, we'll just go with this. And I also do want to bring a very important point about clue scrolls, because we're starting to get a lot of them, and I do them as soon as they drop. I'm only going to show you guys clue scrolls that actually give me something interesting or worthy. Otherwise, they're just kind of going to be a run-of-the-mill thing, and I'm not really going to spend much time on them. Needing a serious break from Slayer, I decided to go train fishing again at the Barbarian Outpost until we got to level 68 so we can enter the fishing guild. And then I knocked out a quick thieving level in the Fremnik region so I can get to 56, which was a requirement for a quest called Path of Glorfree. Which brings us to the second unfortunate recording snafu for this chapter. I shut down my computer while OBS was still recording, the file got corrupted, and I lost all that content. Mainly, we completed 3 more Slayer assignments through Konar. All those gave me level 61 Slayer. And then we completed the Path of Glorfree quest that gave us 30k of strength experience. That got us to level 70 and then gave us 20k Slayer experience, but we got no level. And the last thing for this video, we returned to agility training, specifically the rooftop course at Canifis. It has the highest drop rate for the graceful marks. We really needed to get our hands on the graceful outfit. We stayed here until we got to 70 agility and enough marks to be able to return to the rogue stand and finally purchase our graceful outfit. For this video, I cannot tell you exactly how many farm runs and birdhouse runs we've done. I know it's more than 24, probably less than 30 just because of the recording snafu, so apologies. But we did end up getting 12 farming levels and 3 hunter levels. Here's the progress check for this video. We went from 1309 to 1422 total level. We got a lot accomplished in this chapter for sure. Lots of skilling. As far as a teaser for the next chapter, we're going to go into the fight caves and attempt to get the fire cape. Stay tuned to see exactly how that goes. It ain't good. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.